we've foreshadowed a little bit here, but the goal is long-term investing, right? And you're talking about high conviction, long duration plays. Can you give me your definition of long-term investing?
Yeah, I think, and I'm stealing Buffett's definition of long-term investing. It's that a lifetime holding period is the ideal outcome. That's what you are that's what you hope, that's the best possible scenario where company continued executing, they continued meeting their promises, they continued delivering that durable, profitable growth at a reasonable price, and kept you in, gave you no reason to sell. But that is so rare. I don't think I don't think there's going to be a company that I hold for my entire life, because I mean, sometimes fundamental story deteriorates. Sometimes the price attached to that fundamental story is just no longer compelling and divorced from reality. I mean, we cycle from, especially now, it feels like just cycle from extreme fear to extreme greed over and over and over again. So taking advantage of that in terms of getting stealing another Buffett quote, greedy, fearful, fearful, greedy, is just skating, almost kind of skating where the puck isn't going in terms of sentiment, and kind of zigging when others zag, and when people are ready to throw up babies in the bathwater, just really dispassionately evaluating whether this is also bathwater, or if it's an infant that needs to be taken care of and cultivated. Or do you cultivate infants? I don't really, I'm not a parent, so so I don't think that's the right word, but it's okay.
He's a farmer.
Yeah,
Uh, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I think we all know it's a little easier said than done, right? Things get volatile, and you start looking, right? And you're like, tell me I shouldn't, short these quantum stocks. Tell me I shouldn't do this. And so you do make a lot of tweets about it, sometimes comically on the timeline. But talk to me about the principles that keep you anchored, let's say, when the markets get very irrational.
it's just it's acknowledging that I am a person, I'm a human, I have emotions, and not robotic, but trying to acknowledge that, and make myself act in an almost robotic way, in an emotionless way, where I think it's important to acknowledge that we have these temptations, that it's really hard to be disciplined, and to always do the right thing, and to always stick to your process when you see a pre-revenue company going to $25 billion market cap with a science experiment of a product suite. It's like, do I break the long only rule and take advantage of that? And obviously, if I do break the rule, it's not going to work. But if I don't, it would have worked. So, but I'm just kidding. But it's super. I think super important just to understand that we are human, and that this is hard, and that keeping our mind in the right place is hard, and it's not permanent. It's not consistent. But it's almost, I took a meditation class in undergrad, because I saw, well, I could take a meditation class for credit in undergrad, and just it's almost funny that the lessons that stick with you in school, it's not from calculus, it's not from econ 402, it's from meditation. It's like, when your mind wanders, just acknowledge that it's wandering. Don't get pissed off that it's wandering, but put it back in the center, and put it in intentionally focus on the things that you should be focusing on. And I think for me, it's the Peter Lynch quote. It's not IQ, it's EQ. It's emotional acumen. It's we're all smart enough to do this. We're all smart enough to do the arithmetic and memorize the vocabulary and the lingo that it takes to be a fundamental investor. But not all of us are able to kind of just keep that emotional acumen in check, and really make sure that we're not acting impulsively, and that we're sticking to our process when it's not just easy to stick to it when everything's working, but when everything is not working, and when it's hard. So human emotions, it's almost a battle against that. It's almost trying to be that robot, but knowing you're going to be a human, and forcing yourself to be the robot anyway.
Was meditation your favorite class?
Yeah, I got two graded credits, and honestly, the professor was such a sweetheart. She was like this. She was this lady in her 70s, Martha. She was so friendly and so sweet and so passionate about what her subject was, meditation. And I think whatever image of her you have in your mind right now is probably perfect. She was just this, like, she was a meditation guru. I looked at her, and I knew you do meditate, you do meditate or yoga or something like that. But she was my favorite professor, teacher I've ever had. I think she was awesome.
This feels like a classic, like, honors course. Yeah, that's where they start
Not
putting those.
quite, not quite, but yeah, I felt honored to be in the course.
There you go. I had a class in college that was studying the show The Wire in Baltimore, and our homework was we would watch episodes of The Wire and then write about money and power.
That is awesome. That
So
sounds awesome.
you never know what
Yeah.
you're going to live and learn. Okay,
Yeah.
so we talked for a minute beforehand about, hey, the process has changed over time, right? Went from value investing to different methods. And then we also just talked here about, there's going to be volatility in periods of time where things are tempting. So, how do you balance patience with being willing to change your mind when facts change, markets change, your style changes?
Yeah, I think it's separating the discussion into 2 points. It's how is stock price and stock valuation trending, and how is company performing. And I know people who start doing this in their minds, and rightfully so, it's counterintuitive to think company performing very well but stock performing very poorly. And so there's got to be a reason that stock company isn't actually performing well, and the stock knows better. But it's not. It's just not the case. I mean, stock markets and stock prices and these ticks that we pay such close attention to, it's people or algorithms on the other side of deciding what something is worth, and transacting over and over and over again. And sentiment is sentiment can carry a lot of powerful momentum, where if it's good, it can get way better than it should be. And if it's bad, it can get way worse than it should be. And it's just really, again, dispassionately and trying to be that robot to emotionlessly evaluate, is the company doing everything it needs to be doing? Okay, are they getting punished regardless? Then maybe buy a little bit. Are they getting have they been rewarded fairly for that? Has the multiple doubled in 9 months? And now maybe it's time yeah, company's still doing really well, but now they're actually getting credit for it. So multiple expansion, that amplifier of forward returns probably won't be as powerful as it was over the last year or so. It's just fixating on the company, and then just kind of periodically checking on the stock to see if that forward valuation and that price action has divorced from company performance, which can happen for a few years, and just I like to think of it as kind of a coiled spring, where profits growing, revenues growing, market share is trending up. It's a healthy company, balance sheet's good. The multiple is not going to contract forever. The price is not going to continue going down and down and down, while earnings go up and up and up. And as that plays out, it is like you're pushing down on that spring and waiting for your hand to kind of come off of it, and let it explode higher. But timing for that's always uncertain, which is why it's so frustrating sometimes to be a long-term investor, because we can feel wrong for 4 years, and then 2 months later we made 5 years of average returns in 2 months, and now it's a good position. But it is really making sure we're being honest with ourselves about, is this company doing what it needs to do to continue deserving my time, attention, and money and support? And if it's not, I mean, this isn't the kid. It's not your spouse. It's not your best friend. They don't deserve any unconditional support or loyalty from us. So it's really being that cold evaluator of, are you continuing to earn it?